Morning, everybody. Welcome to Lock Pod. This is season 15, episode 19. It's the Midwest Most Dangerous Podcast coming to you live from the Nika IBW Power in Indiana Lake County studio.
Good morning after a long weekend. It's like almost, you have to remember it's Tuesday.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
I wish it was episode 19.
Yeah, oh, I said 19? 9. I meant 9.
That's fine. No, it's 19. We have 5 episodes left.
Yeah, it's early July.
No, I think it's just one of the, I even feel more tired today after a long weekend like that.
But don't say that with the notorious LMP in the studio.
Talk about
guys,
tired.
You guys are
I'm
tired.
I only got 8 hours of sleep. I usually get 8.5.
I didn't sleep at all last night. And in fact, my cats woke me up at 1 o'clock yesterday when I was trying to sleep.
Oh, 1 p.m.?
1 p.m.
The cats woke you up?
And then I worked until now.
Cats are like teenagers.
They are.
I know.
How would you know? You hate cats.
I know.
I have a couple
cats. I hate teenagers, too.
That tracks.
I have a couple cats hanging around my driveway. Like they're just, I don't know if they're feral kittens.
Really?
Too.
Aww.
I know.
That's cute. I was going to say something mean until you said kittens.
Yeah, little kittens. But I don't know. I can't take them in. There's no way. No.
Oh, you got to get
Not
somebody to fix them
I'm not a cat
at least.
guy.
I'm allergic.
Yeah.
So is Lindsay, but she doesn't.
I am not allergic to my cats.
She ignores it.
I'm also allergic to dogs, but we were raised with dogs constantly. So
you've just kind of endured it?
Yeah.
And cats, are you allergic to cats or no?
I'm allergic to cats and dogs or pretty much anything with fur.
And so how do you deal with
you get used to
your cats? You just get used to it.
Yeah, you develop tolerance.
You endure.
I endure.
For the sake
cuddles.
of your, the cuddles are more important than your allergies.
Well, my one cat, Trella's been my cat on my with my mom since I was 16 years old. So I've had her for a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
Trella. Where's that name come from? Trella.
Mom said I couldn't name her Stella. So I improvised.
Speaking of animals,
yeah,
I saw this on my feed. What's going on here, Tom?
Dude, my wife posted that. I look like I'm sick as a dog, right?
Let's throw this up.
I was sick as a dog.
Your eyes look really sick.
I was straight sick all weekend, and I'm like hanging with the dog. So I like put the dog on my little puppy. I put him on my lap, and then I was just letting him look out the window. And then Marissa's like, snap. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Marissa likes the dog, so I'm like, okay, I put up with it, right? I look like shit. I know I do, because I felt like
that implies she doesn't like him, but he likes.
No, I felt like hell, right? And then like it's on Facebook. I'm like, what are you doing? Like you posted that on Facebook.
You look like you're breathing through your mouth. Like that looks like
I'm a mouth breather. I'm a mouth breather. Big time.
That's what it looks
genetic.
like.
But I'm like, why did you post it on Facebook? I'm sick as a dog. And she's like, oh,
your like lower face is paler than the rest. You look like
I know.
You know in that Mad Max movie where they're huffing silver paint?
Yeah, I was huffing paint. Funny enough. Funny enough.
There's the title.
She captured.
Son of a gun.
I was huffing paint. Funny enough.
Yeah,
that's
the
what
title.
I'm looking. Like I look at him and like how pale you look on the lower
I
half
was
of your
sick.
face, and
Very,
I'm like,
very
damn.
sick.
How do you like Lindsay just reviewing the photo
Yeah.
for you?
Well, like I knew.
MJ looks
but
great.
the bigger question is, why does Marissa post this picture on Facebook?
Because
she's
not
like,
thinking of you.
I want your constituents to see what you look like when I see you.
When you're huffing
She
paint.
wants it.
Yeah. Let's be honest. She wanted the picture of the
Without
dog.
a doubt.
Yeah, it had.
Like,
I
this
was
is a great picture of the dog.
I was an unnecessary part of this
It's
picture.
a cute moment.
Yeah, the dog would never have been in that position without me because he was sitting on my lap. So like I needed to be there.
So kind of like she had to put you in the photo
But
just
like,
because you
there's
happen
gonna
to
be a day
there.
I do this where I'm like good looking, normal looking guy.
No
like
photo.
she has to pick that particular moment. Look at my eyes. I look like dog ass right in this picture. It's like cute dog.
Good
and
morning, Mayor McDermott.
God, I can't believe she posted that on Facebook.
Lindsay leaned so far into criticizing
Yes.
you.
Oh
like huffing paint, Dad. You look like you're huffing paint. That's the message we got. That basically that's the summary of
Marissa
Lindsay's
thinks I look
review.
handsome.
I have no filter here.
Marissa thinks I look handsome. So
And Lindsay thinks
and Lindsay thinks I'm huffing paint. So
The more I
there's
look
a
at it-
wide range of opinions on that
Yeah.
picture.
I mean, look how pale.
What are you going to say, John? The more you look at it, the more the more Tom looks like a huffer.
I can see the artistry in this. I think it should be your profile picture.
All right.
I like the
I'll do it
picture.
today.
Yeah.
It'll be my profile
I
picture.
think
look
it is a
that
nice
bad.
picture, nice photo.
This is what I look like when I'm huffing paint.
My huffing paint photo.
This is my huffing paint
There's
face.
some other photos of you though.
Dude, I was so sick all weekend. I paid the price. For Vegas, man.
Yes.
I got back and I was like, oh, little sniffles.
Yeah, I did too.
Holy crap,
Yeah.
dude. Like
I wasn't as bad as you, but
full blown like head cold,
Oof.
like bad. Like it was
I mean, just
just
around
annoying.
hundreds of
Southwest.
thousands of people.
Hey, check that out, John.
Yeah.
So the
Southwest.
we do we do a lot of coverage of Dalton and the former mayor of Dalton, Tiffany Henyard. And if there's one thing I learned from Tiffany Henyard is you have to have a mayoral DJ.
Travel with DJ.
Yeah. So I got my first
DJ
mayoral
will
DJ.
travel.
And I took a selfie with the mayoral DJ yesterday out in front of the Memorial Day parade.
That was nice.
DJ
He was,
Fresh Spin.
Yeah, look
DJ
at that.
Fresh Spin. He's my mayoral DJ. I'm going to bring him to the council meeting tonight. See how that works out.
Are you going to have a little dog?
You've had a mayoral DJ. This is your second one.
Well, I've had this guy for a while, but this is the first time I took a selfie with him. Right before the parade kicked off, we did the selfie.
Very nice.
You got a couple of DJs in your repertoire. We got George. And
George is. He's my pit bull lookalike.
There's some good Memorial Day. That was a good parade. Memorial Day photos
it was
here.
awesome. Yeah, yesterday's Memorial Day parade in North Hammond.
See the one I got, John, with like candy midair?
Oh, yeah, that was a great one.
Look at this.
Oh, no
Look
way.
at that.
Good picture. That's my mayoral.
Oh, and Dad's like, yeah, I look great in this picture.
See, Marissa didn't post that one.
Look at that. Look at those Sour Patch. Look at that, or not Sour Patch Kids, but look at the
Sour
like,
Straw.
what are those called, Tom?
What are those?
The Sour Punch.
Laffy
Look at
Taffies?
those midair.
Dude, that is so cool. That's crazy. You
It
could
was
read
great.
You guys are
you
so
could read.
impressed
Yeah, look
by-
at that, Kevin. What a shot.
Photo, what a shot I took. Photo credit.
Look at this.
could
Milk
literally-
duds.
You could literally read the
Laffy
candy.
Taffy.
That's a badass.
I'm
that's
reading
a
the
camera
health
phone.
or like the health information.
No
on the
kidding.
back.
You could literally see the
Tootsie
Laffy
Roll.
Taffy in the air.
Tootsie Roll sour patch.
Dots. Don't
Dots.
forget the
Read
box
the
of
back.
dots. And a lemon and a like a.
That's crazy. That's an iPhone.
Yeah.
It snapped it so well you could read the.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a
labels.
bit of a jumbled mess right there
Wow,
in the middle.
that's really cool.
Just kind of stuff.
But yeah, that was a great parade, man.
It really was nice.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of people, a lot of lock powders, by the way, out there.
Look at these
Beautiful.
gals.
I asked Kevin after. I was like, "Did you see lock powders?" He's like, "I don't think people are coming up to you as much." I get it a
I
lot.
think that's right.
I love it. I appreciate you all when you come up and remind us that we're not the only ones talking to ourselves. I appreciate that very much. So come up. We got to like do like a lock pod intro, like Nanu Nanu or some crap like that.
Yeah.
You just come up and you go Nanu Nanu, and I'm like, dude, my man, right?
I love that
Yeah.
idea.
Something like that, right? We need
dog,
like
a lock pod dog whistle.
a dog whistle. Like, let's figure out what the dog whistle. Nanu Nanu has been taken. We can't take that one.
Too bad.
Nanu, nanu.
I was,
Then you have
I
the
was so
special-
excited about using that.
Yeah, the special handshake. Nanu Nanu. And then I know. All you have to do, you do the special handshake. Nanu Nanu. And
We're
I'm
children
like,
of the
my
80s.
man, right?
Yes. There's John in the photo. John, even you're in this photo.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, man. Jay Vez. Jay Vez was
the
the
mayor's
man.
shaking hands.
I shook a lot of hands
Yeah, you
yesterday.
That's probably why you're sick.
I washed my hands after for sure. So because
job.
like I literally
Nice parade.
I literally shook 500 or 600 hands. So like I
So
am
if you're
a
sick
petri
today,
dish.
guys.
Yeah, I
you know
apologize to
who
North Hammond if you find yourself with the sniffles today. I apologize greatly.
Just the
but it's
mayor
my
shaking
job.
your hand.
Dude, what am I supposed to do? I'm the mayor.
You have to
know?
shake hands.
I have to. It's part of the
Yes.
job.
Well, it was a
Sometimes
nice
you
Memorial
gotta-
Day parade. Always good to, say thanks to
Yes.
those that
Fallen
made the-
soldiers.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm wearing my hat in honor of my, fallen soldiers today. It's my
Mm-hmm.
veteran hat, but I do love wearing my veteran stuff. Marissa got me a veteran jacket yesterday.
Oh, nice.
I'm always weird when I get that stuff. It's like nice. It's a really nice coat too. She was super proud, and I was weird when she gave it to me. I hate that because it's like complicated for me. Honestly, the military is complicated for me. It's like I hated it when I was in it. So like I feel weird when I'm wearing stuff with military insignia. So like, and I've been doing it more. You knew, Kevin.
Yeah.
You knew me for 20 years before
Yeah.
I even wore one thing that said Navy on it, right?
Yeah, I think over time you've become very.
Over time.
I think you've become proud of your service over time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
He's
always
come
been
to
proud.
terms with the trauma.
It is trauma. It was very traumatic. It was for me. Like it was like being in prison. So like when you ask me about the service, it's very complicated for me. So like for me just to wear a hat was hard. It was hard.
I think it just. I mean, first of all, it's an unbelievable, great thing that you did to do that to serve your country. I just think it's cool, and I think it's amazing, and I think over time you've also learned that people respect the fact that you did that, which is cool.
Yeah, they do. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because when you first got out, nobody
Right?
cared.
It was a different time.
But it was pre 9/11. 9/11 changed everything
For
for
sure.
the service. So then after that, like I would never even tell people I served because
Well, we grew up in a time, right? I mean, Tom and I grew up in a post-Vietnam era. I mean, basically, we were 5, 6, 7 years old when Vietnam ended, and so like there was all that
Kevin,
through the.
technically, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Okay,
5, 6,
what,
7 years old.
73, 74, right.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so like we grew up with like a lot of that.
Yeah.
Veterans not being proud of what they did.
Oh yeah,
When,
in the 70s, people were pissed at the veterans. Like
and I
it
mean,
was
you
their
joined
fault.
in what 87, right? 88.
Yeah,
Okay,
87,
so
yeah.
we lived that.
I joined right out of high school, man.
But you're right.
I was a freaking kid.
9/11 changed it.
9/11 changed everything. I
Yep.
appreciate it, man. I do appreciate that. And I post my Navy picture. I didn't do it yesterday because you're not supposed to do it yesterday.
Memorial Day, right?
I posted
Different
on Veterans
Day.
Yeah, Memorial Day is like, that's about the ones that didn't make it home.
Yep.
You know, and it's almost like, so I'm careful on Memorial Day, but on Veterans Day, I'm very proud to post my picture, my Navy picture. I look like I'm 12.
And we like your hat.
Yeah, I do like the hat. But so Marissa got me this cool jacket,
Mhm.
and I like weirded out again. I was like, oh,
When are we going to see it? When's the debut?
it's heavy though. That's the thing. It's
Oh, it'll be Veterans Day
Veterans
jacket.
Day cold Veterans Day jacket.
All right.
And by the way, I do Veterans Day every year. I'm in that parade all the time. So hopefully I can bust it out this year. But yeah, I did another like weird when I got it. It's complicated. Like I said,
Can I switch gears?
please.
Linz, you're going to love this story that Tom, that your dad and I found yesterday.
We were thinking of you as soon as we saw it.
And then when you
Wonderful.
said you might be late today, I was like, oh no,
We gotta
we
gotta
Lindsay.
stall.
We were gonna push it to the second
We're going to
segment.
talk about veterans for a long time.
Yeah, we're talking about UFOs, Lindsay.
I love those.
So,
UFOs.
so
they're actually called
Unidentified
They're
flying
actually
objects.
called UAPs now.
I said
No, I call them
UPAs.
UFOs.
UAPs.
I've been alive for 56 years.
Unidentified aerial phenomena.
Dude, that's
because
I'm not going with this woke bullshit. Okay, we're staying with UFO.
do you want to
all right?
learn
Yeah.
something or not? Okay. There are UFOs that are found that are USPs, which are submersible phenomenon.
Why
So
do we
there's
know
some
this
that are
is gonna be
under the
great?
water. So it's just a way to to categorize properly.
So the thank you for that, Linz.
You're welcome.
So here we go. They're in
City.
Colombia. Quote, I'm going to put in quotes. Scientists in Colombia recovered a mysterious sphere-shaped object that many now believe is a piece of UFO technology.
Oh, hell yeah.
And this woman, Dr.
what it looks
Mossbridge, told Fox News that we're entering a time when we're starting to recognize as humans we don't have the control we thought we had over everything. And this sphere, which John is now
Looks
showing
fake.
Dude, we could do that right now. Beatty Products in Hammond, dude.
in
We'd
like
knock
metal,
that out.
some metal
Yeah, come
works,
on,
right?
Man, that's easy.
So this thing was flying around Colombia, and
That
we've got
was the
yes,
ball?
yes.
We have video.
It is. Many are skeptical that this is a genuine UFO.
Okay, hold on. If this thing flew across the atmosphere, the galaxy, right, and it came into the Earth's atmosphere,
Yes.
The
where I imagine
galaxy.
it burned up like everything that comes into our atmosphere.
Not this one.
Okay. It looks shiny
It's
and bright.
made of some metal that humans don't know
Right.
about. Tom.
Fancy metal.
Oh, it's flying. Look
Here
at
it
that.
goes.
It
Look
looks
at
like a
this.
balloon.
Look at him go.
How heavy is that thing?
We don't know
I mean, this
because the government they wouldn't give it to the
Wait,
government.
Be quiet.
They took
It's
it.
making a noise.
I think it's a bird. I think it's a goose.
that is a bird.
And so how did they get it if
Oh,
it's
you'll
flying
see.
around?
Just watch. This is
They
great.
use a good old-fashioned net.
So this sphere is just flying through the
That is
air.
not alien technology. That's barely human
It's like
technology.
somebody put a drone. It's like somebody put a drone in a ball.
Yes.
And flew it through Colombia. That's what it looks like.
So this thing made it through the entire atmosphere. It looks like it's having trouble in our atmosphere.
Here it comes. Get ready. It's coming down.
What the hell?
Watch this.
Oh, yeah. It just fell?
Yeah. Watch.
And it was
And this guy runs after
Oh,
it.
yeah. The guy that was filming it.
Listen. He's breathing heavily. He found it.
oh my god.
Why is it always the worst video? It's
And-
like
I know,
shaky
right?
still.
Right?
Kevin's taking pictures. You can see Laffy Taffy in the air at a parade. This guy can't film a high def video.
It looks like it's filming like 78.
I know. Right?
It's
By
the
the way,
Zapruder film.
he's the only dude in Colombia that got that, too, right? Right?
Oh, this guy, Dr. Jose Luis Velasquez, a radiologist who examined the sphere, said it is of artificial origin in that it shows no evidence of welding, and its internal structure is composed of high density elements. More testing is needed to establish its origin. The giveaway to me, they also deciphered the message using AI.
Whoa.
What's the message?
Here it is, quote, "The origin of birth through union and energy in the cycle of transformation, meeting point of unity, expansion, and consciousness, individual consciousness."
Very cool.
That's what the symbols mean, Linz.
Huh.
So you think it's fake,
Alright.
Kevin?
I'm going with fake.
Why?
I'm going with fake.
The one thing that I thought that gave it away to me was one of the scientists that quote-unquote discovered this thing. He gained attention in 2017 when he claimed to have discovered alien mummies in Peru.
just happened
So
to be
just
here.
by
guy?
chance, same
Oh.
guy.
Same guy.
All right, I'm familiar with this guy. Okay. Do you guys remember the? Maybe not. You're not in the same circles as me.
No,
It's not my
no.
algorithm.
I'm not in the UPA circles. UAP.
UAP, there
UAP.
you go.
Sorry.
The UPA,
Tell us, Lindsay.
the Upper Peninsula area.
What were you going to say?
What about the
Peru
Peruvian?
mummies?
Yeah, the other guy.
Peruvian mummies. This guy claimed to find them, and then he was like, "You could do an X-ray of them, but no one's allowed to touch them." And we were like, "All right." So this was an arts and crafts project.
There have been no official reports or scientific analysis to confirm claims of a sphere falling over Buga, Colombia. Only eyewitness reports. The scientist also said that the government contacted him to hand over the sphere, but he refused.
Wow.
Well,
Oh,
okay.
the government's
There you
behind
go.
it, guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
Are
Oh,
you
yeah.
aware?
He did say if I hand it over, it'll never be seen again.
Right. It's true.
Well,
Okay.
that's
Oh,
that's
that's
the UFO news.
Wow. See, I'm going to run with I don't believe it. I don't think that's a
believe it
UFO.
either.
I wonder
go
what
with
his
you.
doctorate's in.
I'm with Kevin.
UFO.
It's a drone inside of a ball.
Right. That
But
flew
don't
through the
X-ray
air.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap up the first segment. When we come back, I had a book assignment over the weekend, and so did Kevin.
No kidding. Tom assigned us a book review.
Yeah, Kevin probably finished it. in
No,
like an hour.
It's opposite.
Yep.
Opposite.
I had
Your
no
dad
life.
was cruising.
And I was sick. So
I read a book this weekend too, but
Well-
it was not that book.
Well, we're going to talk about this when we come back,
I
though.
got
This is
2/3.
this book came out Tuesday, and 1 week later, you're getting a Lockbot update on Jake Tapper from CNN and Alex from Axios. Oh,
No, CNN also.
Alex Thompson from Axio wrote a book, The Original Sin. It's about the Biden cover-up, and I flew through it. I'm ready to talk about it. Kevin flew through it. He's ready to talk about it. So when we come back, we're going to talk about this book and whether or not you want to read it and whether or not we're learning anything. And if you're a Lockpotter, we were talking about this while it was happening. So
Yep.
you can be proud of that you're getting something on Lockpod that nobody else is getting because nobody else is willing to talk about this stuff. And that's why we're the Midwest's most dangerous podcast. So let's go ahead and do some ads. When we come back, we're going to be talking about The Original Sin, Jake Tapper's book. We'll start off with Powering Indiana Lake County, our premier and studio sponsor. Powering Indiana Lake County is your source for the region's most trusted electricians. At Powering Indiana Lake County, we set the standard for excellence in electrical work. As IBEW Local 697 electrical contractors, we ensure safety, reliability, and quality for Northwest Indiana corporations, businesses, and homes alike. But our mission goes beyond the job site. We're creating a brighter future for the region we proudly serve. Powering Indiana Lake County, bringing excellence to the job, creating a brighter future for our community. Find the right electrical contractor at poweringindiana.org.
Cantrell and Cantrell, attorneys at law. Are you injured or in trouble with the law? Give Cantrell and Cantrell a call and schedule your consultation with someone who's in court and at the jail every day. Call John Cantrell at 219-5544-LAW or visit their website at bettercallcantrell.com. John and his wife, Kristen, happy birthday, Kristen, today.
Happy birthday, Kristen.
Make a great team and are waiting to hear from you.
Mice in the kitchen, ants in your bed, spiders up high messing with your head. Don't grab a flamethrower. That's a bit extreme. Just call the Bug Guys. We're the dream team. We'll evict your pests without a fight, and you'll sleep soundly every night. No bugs, no drama, no creepy surprise. Just clean, safe homes from the Bug Guys. Call now because your house is not an insect Airbnb. The Bug Guys at 219-810-7481.
True story. 3 a.m. this morning, Amy wakes me up. She says, "Don't be upset with me. There's a centipede on the ceiling. I need you to take care of it."
Dude,
And you thought, where are the bug guys?
That's exactly what I
holy
thought.
crap.
That
Those things
is
get
the
huge,
only
aren't they?
purpose for a
Yes.
husband,
They scare
by the way.
the shit out of me.
Huge.
Centipedes?
They're disgusting.
Or was it a millipede or a centipede?
Centipede.
Yeah, dude.
You know,
John,
Yeah.
I lived in your neighborhood when Lindsay was a baby. And
Yes.
the house we lived in, it was on 169.
silverfish.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Those things were scary. They were all, I hated them.
They're very flimsy. Like they're very
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
but
fragile.
they're disgusting. It just looks
Yeah.
gross.
Disgusting.
I just
Yeah.
usually
They
grab
freak
them
me
with
out.
a
This
paper
one was
towel or
huge.
something.
Yeah, they're,
So I got to call the bug guy.
Yeah.
They took
Call
care
the
of
bug
us
guy.
last season.
Yeah.
You
But-
know, the first, the one time I realized that my husband was going to be my husband is when I called him in the middle of the night and I
One
said, "There's a
time.
giant spider in my bathroom. Can you please come help me?" And
Oh.
He was
came
there in
and
a
helped me.
heartbeat.
He did. He
You're
got
like,
into
this
his
guy's-
car.
If my girlfriend
I'm
called
keeping
me,
this guy.
if I had a girlfriend back in the day, let me qualify that. Let me qualify this. But back in the day when I was
Where you
courting
going, Tom?
Marissa,
Nowhere.
if Marissa called me from her place and said, "Honey, can you come and take care of a spider?" I'd have been there in 12 seconds. Okay, for the record.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Brian did
She
that
kept
for
you
me.
too.
Yes.
See?
Right.
That was early on in the relationship, and I was like, I'll keep him around.
He's a
Good
keeper.
job.
Useful.
Good job, Brian. Killed that spider. Bryway Brewing is a family-friendly microbrewery with a spacious tap room and outdoor patio, serving its award-winning craft beer, a chef-driven food menu, and craft cocktails on draft. Their brewing equipment and production facility offers a unique backdrop for events like bridal showers, reunions, or corporate parties. With their new food truck, they can cater to your corporate or private events off-site. Just off 8094 at the Kennedy Avenue South exit. Discover more at bywaybrewing.beer.
Jan and I had dinner there Friday night. It was awesome. I had the OG, which is my
OG.
my fallback.
It's the burger, right?
Burger, yeah, it was really good. Prestmer Insurance Agency. For decades, Ron J. Prestmer Insurance Agency has been located right on Indianapolis Boulevard, serving all your insurance needs. Prestmer Agency specializes in a wide range of insurance products and services, including auto, home, business, life, and much more. Prestmer Agency serves thousands of people and businesses throughout Chicagoland and the Midwest. Call Ron or Ronnie today at 219-844-0103. They're here to protect what matters most to you.
Don't let your business get lost in the shuffle of generic branding and aimless marketing. Trust Northwest Indiana's award-winning full-service marketing agency, The Branding Room Floor. Providing data-driven results to help your business grow in a crowded market is their specialty. From website development and digital advertising to graphic design and branding, The Branding Room Floor will set your business or organization on a clear path to strategic success. Don't wait another day to get started. Visit thebrandingroomfloor.com today.
All right. Thanks to our sponsors.
Including our studio sponsor, Power in Indiana, Lake County.
Pow!
All right.
Good one, Linz.
This segment, we're going to cover Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again. This book offers a critical examination of President Joe Biden's 2024 re-election campaign. The book contends that Biden and his inner circle, including family members and top aides, were aware of his cognitive decline but chose to conceal it, believing only President Biden could prevent a second Trump presidency. This decision, described as Biden's original sin, led to a campaign marked by denial and manipulation. Drawing from over 200 interviews with insiders, the authors detail how Biden's team managed his public appearance to mask his deteriorating condition, including editing videos and limiting unscripted interactions.
I think that you just pointed out something that I think is really what I found to be competing interest within the book. The overriding concern about beating Trump and the failure to bring out to the public his cognitive decline, which we all saw. And by the way, overall, what would you say? Easy book to read, right?
Super.
Like if you're telling our
I
audience,
finished it in 3 days.
I would say for sure it's an easy book to read. It's a quick read. It's
like
well
the
written.
spaces, but the spaces, like it's a big. It's almost like they wanted to fill 300 pages.
Agree.
Normal, if it was normal font, like in the books I normally read,
Yeah.
This is like 180 to
Like,
200
look
pages.
at all the space
yeah,
on the pages,
dude,
right?
it's almost like they spread it out on purpose.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
really,
they could have made this. They could have made it a lot more.
and they cut the chapters into like easy.
Yes,
you know, like
it was
sometimes
super
I'm like,
digestible.
I got to get
You're
through
just
this long
flying
chapter.
through,
Yeah.
right? Like, and it was spaced out. It was put together basically through a timeline chronologically. So
It's an easy read, and if you're a political junkie or just somebody that is pissed off about what happened with the
Like
Biden
me.
campaign, yeah, like us,
that's
right?
why I wanted to read it so fast.
I was so aggravated in reading it.
Who's responsible, basically?
Yeah,
That's
I was
what
like,
wanted
who
to
is
know.
the guilty party
It's
here?
interesting though. Some of my friends, some of the people I hold up high, like Gretchen Whitmer, she is not. She doesn't look as horrible as other people in this book, but she certainly was aware that President Biden had limitations and not talking about it openly. And quite frankly, she could have run for president herself.
I think a lot of people were thinking, oh, someone else is going to make the decision. Someone
Right.
else is going to do it. Like, this is the
And
thing.
then it came down to freaking Dean Phillips, who was not. It should have been somebody like Gavin or Gretchen Whitmer or the people we're talking about now.
Klobuchar and-
Yes. It should have been one of those
a good
people
point.
stepping up to challenge instead of Dean Phillips. All due respect to Dean Phillips.
Right.
They all
right?
decided,
He's
like,
a-
oh, well.
He's a little-known congressman, right? All due respect to a little-known congressman. You know, if you're running for president, take it with a grain of salt, right? But if Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, throws her name in there and says President Biden is cognitively impaired and he can't do the job anymore, that's a freaking story.
And yeah, but nobody in that high of power decided to do it. I mean, and not that a congressman's not, but it just goes to show you even
It's
the
not.
levels within.
It's not.
It's not. It's not.
Senate, governor, and above.
Yep.
That's how you run for president.
And by the way, this is something that I thought was interesting because the inner circle, and I in my notes, I said these people are more than anyone were responsible based on what I read in the book. And they're names you probably haven't heard of. That's the thing that just was so interesting to me. Here's the names that I wrote down. Mike Donnellan, Steve Ricchetti, Bruce Reed, Ron Klain, Anthony Bernal, Anita Dunn. Tell me who's heard of 2 of those people.
I think I've heard of only 2 of those people.
That
Okay,
last
so-
name is fake.
Okay, so
Anita Dunn. Anita Dunn.
There's
Anita
no
Dunn.
way that's a real name.
Anita Dunn.
and they
It's a real name.
in the book they say
But it's a good one.
these people were basically running the country, and they bore allegiance to the Biden theology, not the presidency or the American people. And,
Right.
and
They
then,
were the
and Jill
president.
and the family.
They were the
as well.
president, and they had an auto pen, and they just like sat there and cranked out. So like there was a couple, and I don't have them immediately available, but people making comments like, when you vote for president, you're voting for a team anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And by the way, I believe that. Mm-hmm. You are voting for a team. I have a team. When you vote for me as mayor, you're not. I am a person you're voting for, but I also represent about 50 people that run the city of Hammond.
But you're also not in cognitive decline.
No.
You're still
But
our
what I'm
leader.
saying is, but when you're voting for me, you're voting for me and everybody
Sure.
that works for me,
Administration.
right? So, like, I get that when you're the president, right? But I'm also voting for you because who
For
gets
sure.
woke up at 2 a.m? Not the team.
Nope.
The president gets woke up at 2 a.m. If that guy, I'm glad President Biden's not the president right now. It's a sad thing to say because he wouldn't be on the job right
Yeah.
now. Like, and we knew that. So going in, I knew all along if Biden was going to run. I knew all along. I was even talking about it on Lockpod. President Kamala is going to be the president by the end of Biden's term because there's no way Biden makes it through
saying
4
that.
years. He was barely going to make it through that term.
And there's a discussion of that within the book. Like I think the interesting article or interesting people in the book that talk about that a lot are like David Axelrod, and he was getting killed by the Democrats for even bringing it
Because
up.
if you brought it up, you were like,
You're
"Oh,
like,
you're
anti-
weakening the
we're gonna lose to
president.
Trump. We're gonna lose to
we're gonna
Trump."
lose to Trump. What are you doing?"
Right.
It's like I'm speaking my mind.
and they brought
God
Dave,
forbid.
Yeah,
we talk about the truth. We got a guy that's cognitively impaired, and we're going to run him for 4 more years, and you're not supposed to say anything.
The other thing I thought
Like
was
the regular American can't see that with their own eyes. We're like pulling the wool over your eyes.
You know what? One of the things that I remember you saying that I saw in the book as well, that was another thing I thought was cool, is that, like Tom mentioned before the break, we were, Tom especially, I want to give Tom more credit than me. Tom especially was talking about this stuff and wasn't afraid to talk about it. And one of the things I remember Tom saying was, I know the look of Joe Biden.
Yes.
And you saw that throughout the book, right? Where people said...
You know why? My dad is dealing with issues like this.
Yep.
Okay? I know when my dad looks at me sometimes, I know that look.
And
the look is, what the hell's going on? You can sort of tell, right? And I'm Lindsay, right?
Yeah,
It's a look, right? That you see in people that are struggling with memory issues, right? So when I see that in the president of the United States, that same look, I know that look. And by the way, anybody that deals with aging parents knows that look.
And
he didn't know what the hell was going on.
Even his gait, like the way he's moving.
Yep.
It almost reminds me a lot of what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought was interesting, because there were congressmen and people within the administration that said, I know that looked like my mom.
Yep.
That looked like my dad. And it was like, it clicked in my mind that Tom was saying this.
sure.
And it's like, the look.
The look is like,
if you have a
you
family
can see
member.
the eyes. You see them in the eyes.
Yep.
They're like, I have no idea what's going on. Like, help me out, please. Like, I don't know which way to walk. I don't know what to do. By the way, President Biden during it was when he was with President Obama on the stage. I pulled it up. Well, we were going through this book. I was pulling up the videos, watching him. He had no freaking clue what he was doing. He was walking towards the audience and they were supposed to walk off. And then Biden literally grabbed him by the arm and pulled him off the stage. And Biden, by the way, Obama was beating up the Democratic Party behind the scenes. He was like not on board with Joe at all. And that was complicated too. Because in 2016, President Obama didn't endorse Joe to run for president over Hillary Clinton. So now here he is when Joe's getting ready to run for a second term. And there's already bad blood because Obama didn't back him originally. So now Obama looks like a total jerk if he's like, hey, I'm not going to back you in your second term, right? Because that brings up old memories from 2016. They're like, fuck you, Obama. You didn't back me when I was running against Hillary. Now you're not going to back me for my second term. Biden would have loved to say that, but he was cognitively impaired. So he couldn't say that. It would be his team that said that.
Right. Like Jill or
like
somebody
Ron
else,
Klain and Dr. Biden and,
this Anthony Bernal, all these guys. So
they were beating everybody up, but the president himself couldn't do it because he was cognitively impaired.
That's right. And I think one of the things that also, like, when this happens, I think it just happens so quickly, or not maybe quickly, but it just happens quicker than maybe you think it does. Like I threw up this picture from you and Joe Biden at the Civic Center in 2018.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lindsay took pictures with him that day.
Yep.
Right, Lindsay?
Did, yeah.
Charlie
Was he
I
charming?
did.
Was he with it?
Yeah, he seemed okay with me.
100%.
Yeah.
Charming, with it,
Very pleasant.
smart.
Energetic.
Totally.
I mean, like, here's a picture. I took this.
Yes.
I remember this after the.
Yeah,
you
that
got
was
the
in the
next one?
Civic Center.
You got the next one,
Yep.
John?
That
So
was when he was making the decision to run for president.
This is after the event, right? It was at Joe Donnelly event in the Civic Center. This is upstairs in the balcony of the Civic Center. He literally ran up the stairs after the event to go up and greet these people, the workers and others. And here he is taking a selfie. I mean, he ran up I watched him run up the stairs at the Civic Center.
Right.
And then we're
That was
4 years
2018.
later. 4 years later, in 2022, is when people started really seeing the decline.
But 6 years later, was when he
Real
lost
bad.
the election. But like he was a mess by the end of the term. And by the way, they're going to run this old guy that's having trouble. He can't walk. He can't remember. He can't defend himself verbally. Let's run this guy for 4 more years. And we're going to have the respect of 22-year-olds, right? We're going to have the respect of America when we run this old man for another term. It's just like it was a loser.
Abuse.
It was elder abuse. It was a loser strategy. The DNC should be fired en masse. Everybody that had anything to do with this situation, I will never support them in politics. That includes friends of mine, by the way. They're done. Everybody, it was a huge cover-up. They lied to the American public. They lied to me. They lied to you. They lied to the Lockpot audience. They're liars.
And why did they do that? So this was
Because they were selfish. They wanted to keep their power.
Bingo. And this is a really good quote, I thought. Former Governor Jerry Brown in the book, he wasn't like in the book. They quoted him, not about this, but just about politics. And he said, "A life of power, fame, and relevance is not easy to give up. Politics is addictive. It's exciting. It's kind of a psychic cocaine. People don't want to go back to their boring lives. Politicians are truly only accountable to their voters who can be snookered."
I folded that page.
Yeah.
I don't like the
very
part
interesting.
about that could be snookered.
Yep.
But I tell you what, I think everything.
That's what they thought. They
But
thought
like,
they could snooker us.
I'm sure you could snooker people. Okay,
Sure.
I don't operate like that.
I know.
But I tell you what, everything you said in that paragraph up until the snookered part is.
Yep.
I agree. This job I have in politics is truly exciting, exhilarating. It's different every single day. It's important, but it's also like brutal. Like you just want to quit sometimes. Like I can't handle this anymore. Like there was last week, for instance, I was down in the dumps all
Yep.
week.
It's a roller coaster ride, but it also is very exciting because you do get to make decisions that impact your community and people's lives, and in this case, the country, right, and the world.
Or in Jerry Brown's case, he's running one of the largest economies in the world when
for
he's
sure.
governor of California. Or if you're the president of the United States, you're the most powerful man in the world, powerful person in the world.
They also referred. This was another interesting chapter. They referred to. They talked about Congress and how like they protect old congressmen. They talked about Strom Thurmond at 100, was third in line to be the president.
You say
right?
you bring up a Republican, so let's bring up Dianne Feinstein.
Dianne Feinstein,
in her
they brought her
90s,
up.
she was truly
87.
like she was literally like couldn't even recognize her family towards
Yep.
the end, and she was a U.S. sitting senator. That's a freaking joke, man, and something needs to be done about that, Kevin. Because going back to your Jerry Brown quote, okay. If this is such an addictive job, it's such a great job, it's such an important job, then why would you give it up when you're in your 70s, 80s, 90s, right? Why would you? What if you're cognitively impaired but still very popular?
Because
I'm going to keep running because this job is amazing, right?
And there's also pressure on you for your staff and your support and all the people below you. And this is something that this was again from the book, a quote. "Welcome to a system." This is talking about Congress. "Welcome to a system where power is distributed by seniority, and where spouses, children, staffers, and lobbyists invest deeply in the life and success of an individual politician and then grow reluctant to give it up."
How many parades have you gone to in your life, Lindsay?
Oh, thousands.
More than you can count.
Yeah.
Like, that's so true. Your family is all in when you have a politician in the family. And Lindsay has 2 politicians in the family.
2.
Well,
Pops. Yeah.
I'm talking Marissa.
Oh,
Judge
yeah,
Marissa.
Marissa.
Yeah, her campaign was all exhuming. But it's a different job when you're a judge.
That was an intense election.
It was an intense election. And then when you're a judge, once you get elected, everything goes away for 6 years.
I just think it's interesting about that's the dynamic that I found in this book interesting is this whole you know what you should be doing, which is not fooling the American people, not betraying the American people, not betraying the Democratic Party, letting other people run, and this desire to hold on to power. And this desire to think you're the only person out there that could help, that could make, that could
I'm
beat
the only
Trump.
one that could beat Trump.
I can only one that can beat Trump because I'm the only one.
I'm the only one that's beat it. Right.
Yeah.
Like if we gave Gavin Newsom, Pete Buttigieg, Gretchen Whitmer, J.B. Pritzker, Governor Shapiro, if we gave all, and by the way, Andy Bashir, I could go on and on. We have an amazing bench of people that are being ignored because we have these 85-year-olds that want to keep running. Right. It's a joke, man. So
Well, Tom, talk about, and this is another thing that Tom talked about and that has talked about in the past, and that's the idea of competitive primaries.
Yeah, I love primaries. If somebody wants to primary me, I welcome it. Let's go. Let's freaking go, including the big names out there. Let's go. Come on. Because I think in Hammond, I don't think anybody could beat me.
What about
I really honestly feel that way. And if I don't feel that way, if somebody's stronger than me in Hammond, are we doing the Democratic Party any good by having my weak ass in there if I'm not even the strongest in Hammond anymore? Get me out of there. Bring in the new strong person so that the Democratic Party and Hammond is stronger and better. That's how it works. It's like you're the heavyweight champ of the world. But if you keep shielding the heavyweight champ from strong opponents, then you're going to end up weaker.
Yeah, I mean, this is another quote about the importance of primaries. And when I read this, I folded over the page. I wrote on here, Tom has been saying this for years. And this is the quote. If history is any guide, a competitive primary and caucus process would have produced a stronger nominee, one who had more experience with debates, taking questions from reporters, one with a more cogent and precise answer as to why they were running, one with time to introduce themselves to the American people, fleshing out policy proposals, dealing with flip-flops, winning messages would have been formed, and if needed, the ability to distance themselves from Biden and forge their own way. Whitmer, Pritzker, Buttigieg, Newsom, Harris, and Klobuchar all would have run.
Yeah.
Yep. I was thinking about Buttigieg when you were reading that.
Yeah, I mean, all these people would have run.
He would have been.
He's so quick.
But I don't know.
Whitmer would have been great.
It's interesting.
You know?
I think if Buttigieg runs in 2024, he probably is probably elected.
He's right in there.
Okay, he's right in there,
mix.
right? But now, I think it's different for him in 2028. No, I just do.
Yep.
It's different for me after reading this book.
I think
I knew it's confirmed for me what I felt all along, and you can't tell me that a cabinet member didn't know. Okay, let me tell you something, why I say that. In the cabinet, John, we do the weekly staff meetings, right? Mm-hmm. And they're unscripted, of course. We come in there and we have conversations about each department. We go around the room, right? Their staff meetings, John, were scripted. They would give them like a script. Here, Secretary Buttigieg, I want you to ask the president these 3 questions. Wow. And then he would do it, and the president knew the fucking questions were coming, and he would sit there and recite because he was just memorizing lines. Yeah. And he would like read the line. Oh. It was like completely scripted, dude. It was so the cabinet didn't know? Shut the hell up. The cabinet knew. The freaking insiders knew. Everybody knew except for us.
And even we knew.
I'm a Democrat. I've been in the party 25 freaking years. I knew, but they were lying to me. No. He is as quick as he's ever been. He is so fast. It's amazing to me how much energy he has. It was total gaslighting from the get-go.
They didn't mention that.
They didn't even respect me. I spent my whole career in this party. They don't respect me. Those people don't respect me. Like I'm a pawn to them. Yeah. And if I'm a pawn, what are you?
There was another thing in the book. Like there was times in the book I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like George Clooney hosts this huge fundraiser for him. Mm-hmm. Joe Biden, President Biden, didn't recognize George Clooney. Had to have an aide tell him, what? George. Yes. That's George.
Oh,
this is somebody he's known.
That was why they wrote this book. That was the most striking moment in the book. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't hear that, John.
No.
Yeah.
And George Clooney's like, holy shit.
George Clooney raised like millions for him, one of the top fundraisers in Hollywood, and literally probably one of the most recognizable people in the world, George Clooney, right? And President Biden walked up to him. He said, hey, thanks for being here. And he's like, Mr. President, how's it going? And his aide was like, that's George Clooney. And he still didn't know. And he's like, thanks for
George.
being here. And he's like, it's George Clooney. And then he's like, oh, George. Like 3 times it took him.
Yeah, and George wrote that letter, right?
Then,
later on.
Well, that was the first time. Then George saw him in the debate, and then he wrote the letter.
Yeah.
Because George was already like, what the hell is going on? Just like we were. Yeah. And then the debate. It's funny. I went back in Lockpod Archives on YouTube, by the way, if you want to pull up old episodes. I pulled up the episode after the debate. Kevin, you weren't here that day. Aaron and I were in the studio, and I was ripping. I taped it, man. I was ripping him. I was like, this guy's dead. Because it took him another month and a half to drop out after that.
3 weeks.
I was ripping him on the show after. I was like, there's no way this guy could get elected. I'm so proud of myself. I taped it.
And I think that's kind of like the secondary part of this that is so aggravating. This was just so aggravating reading this book as a Democrat. And is that if you wanted Kamala Harris to be the nominee, and that's what I think I learned also in this book, they screwed her over.
Oh, yeah.
Like, here you go.
They didn't like her.
Well, I'm just saying, like, in the sense of, like, okay, I'm going to give you 107 days to win this. And David Floff, who I have a lot of respect for, he's the one who ran Obama's campaign. He came in almost like he called it a rescue mission. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, they were already down. They were already going to be down. And they tried everything they could to win. But they put her in it. Like, that's the thing that pisses me off the most is that because Biden delayed his decision, it screwed over the party.
And I'm not mad at Kamala.
I'm not either.
No, she was a good soldier. If the vice president, are you supposed to say the number one guy
Correct.
screwed up. I'm running.
Yep.
Because you look like an asshole, right?
Yeah.
So she did everything she's supposed to do. Honestly, I've never been a huge fan of hers. I supported her like crazy in that race.
Yep.
And I'm proud of her. I thought she did a good job considering.
I do too. The
Yeah.
criticism of her is kind of like Monday morning quarterbacking.
Yeah, plus a lot of people are racist and they don't want to admit that voting for a black woman is hard.
That could be too.
I'm telling
Yeah.
you, man. A lot of people don't want to come to grips with that. I hate to say it.
Some
It's
people
the
won't even
truth.
vote for a woman.
What, Linz?
Unfortunately.
It's
Yeah.
the truth. It's the truth.
It's voting for a woman, it's voting for a black person, and it's definitely voting, like, apprehension for voting for a black woman. For some reason, this is an issue for a lot of people.
Agree, totally.
And I don't
100%. Things you're
understand
not
it.
supposed to say out loud. We're saying it right here. That's the
Yeah,
truth.
I
And
mean,
she's a strong black woman too, man. By the
she's
way, she's smart as
intelligent.
hell.
Great
She's-
story.
Yeah.
Attorney General. She's a badass. So like, there's a very insecure people in this world that are voters, and they're super insecure. And voting for a strong African American woman, and it isn't on a lot of people's bingo card, unfortunately.
There's no doubt in my mind that given where President Biden was versus Kamala Harris, I mean, it's not even close. She obviously could be president. I mean, it's
1,000
not
times.
even. It's like where
Anybody could be president.
yeah.
I mean, because you could put, and anything. You could put the Taylor Swift statue I have and say that's the president, and then you just hire a bunch of people around her, like.
She would have been just fine.
I wish Taylor Swift was the president.
Do you?
I don't.
I'd love that. I'd
Just
go to
be
work in
weird.
D.C. All right, let's call it. The
Wrap it.
Original Sin. I highly
Recommend
suggest
it?
Highly recommended.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's we're not calling the show, by the way. We still got one more segment. We're going to come back and talk a little bit of U.S. Steel, getting bought by Nippon Steel or partnering with Nippon Steel. But Original Sin, I'd recommend it.
I would too.
Definitely. It was an
It's
easy
an
read.
easy
It was-
read.
It was a good Memorial Day weekend read. By the way, good timing.
Make it some of your summer
Good timing.
reading. Yeah, it was.
On the
Thank you, Jake
CNN's
Tapper.
part. By the way, it did strike me a little weird that this is a reporter covering the White House, and he doesn't come up with all this juicy shit until after Trump is president.
Well, 200 interviews.
I
It
know,
takes a
man,
while.
but still, do your freaking job, Jake Tapper. I'm not that impressed with him, by the way.
I was
I am
impressed
not.
with him.
I am not. Do your freaking job beforehand. Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Jake. He's already in, asshole. If you do this while you're freaking supposed to do it, it doesn't make you as much money personally, but maybe we find out a couple things
I'm
about
not
the
going to call
president.
him an asshole like you just did.
I did.
Yeah, I
Because
thought it was a good book.
Tell me, Kevin. Like, as a reporter writing a book after the fact, you're not going to... And he's
That's how
covering
it
him the
always
whole time.
happens. Always happens like that. You think there's
John, back me up on
how
this.
do
Am I
books
wrong?
come out immediately?
No, you're not wrong.
Thank you, John.
Books don't come. John,
It's
books
so
don't come out
interesting
like
that
right away.
A mainstream reporter suddenly comes up with this after the fact.
I agree with you, John.
Come on.
It's
It
a little
takes time to write a
capitalist.
book.
It's a little capitalist. Well, then cover it a little bit. Did you see his coverage during the race? His coverage was, oh
was
my
all
God, Biden,
Team
you're
Biden.
so
He's
great.
getting
Yeah.
criticized for that.
Oh, good. Yeah. So while he's covering Biden, he's thinking this guy is out of it, but I'm not going to cover that because then it would make me unpopular. I'll just write a book after Trump takes over and I'll make millions of dollars.
It's the same thing with who's the brother of the he was the New York governor.
Yeah,
Oh,
Cuomo.
yeah.
Cuomo.
Yeah.
Cuomo's brother is
Yeah.
now suddenly saw the light, and he's got his own show.
Isn't he coming back now? He's
I don't
trying
know.
to. There's
He's
some
on some
comeback.
alternate
Is that the
news
guy
station.
with the weird affair
Yeah,
texts?
he's coming back.
No.
Okay.
I thought he was. Andrew.
No, the
The
weird
governor.
affair
The
text.
former governor is now running for mayor of New York.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's
Right.
what it is. That's
Which
what you're
one's
Is
thinking.
it
the
Anthony
one with
Weiner
the
is
weird
too.
text?
No, that's fiction.
Wiener. That's Wiener.
Wiener. Yeah.
Yeah. Is he's not running again.
No.
No.
One of the-
I was like,
one
That's
of
a lockpod fiction.
I swear, one of the Cuomos had like an affair that was exposed in
Yes.
like the
Really?
last 2
He was
years.
the governor.
the governor.
Yeah,
Was
he's
it?
running for mayor
Okay.
now. Yeah,
I was like,
Oh.
because
what
the
I was
statute
thinking.
of
I was like,
limitations on that is like 2 years. Lindsay,
well,
didn't you know
but
that?
also the court of
Today's
public
news
opinion
cycle.
Forget
runs
about it.
out
People
real
forget about
fast.
that
Even
shit
Lindsay
quick.
forgot.
Yeah,
Obviously.
she got it mixed up with Anthony Weiner.
Honestly, there are so
Anthony
many.
Weiner's like, what the hell, man? It's bad enough my name is Weiner.
There's so many men in politics that just get wrapped up in that kind of weird stuff.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to keep track of it all.
All right, let's go ahead and.
Edwards was another one.
Oh yeah, ran for president.
That was rough. And he
Yeah.
had like a
I
secret
supported-
child or something.
I supported that guy too, and
Wasn't
then
he Republican though?
No,
no, he was
Democrat.
Democrat. He was a good Democrat.
Great.
Yeah,
Great
He
senator.
wasn't that great.
not
he
that
was
great.
good. He was
Yeah,
a trial
until,
lawyer.
until we discovered who he really was. Yeah.
Obviously, he's sucked a lot.
Whoa.
Whoa.
No, not as a
that's
joke.
in the-
He just sucks.
All
Period.
right. I thought you were
That
talking
guy
about.
sucks. He's the worst.
All right, let's do some ads, and then when we come back, we're going to talk U.S. Steel getting acquired by a Japanese company, which is
Partnering.
interesting. Partnering, but U.S. Steel being partnered with
That's
Nippon
a
Steel.
very important clarification, I feel like.
That
Yeah.
is.
Kevin
Planned
keeps
partnership.
clarifying.
All right, Calumet Brewing. Michelob Ultra, the official sponsor of the PGA, is a superior light beer with ultra smooth taste. This refreshingly crisp light lager has only 95 calories and 2.6 carbs, making it the perfect beer on the golf course or on the 19th hole. Check out the new Ultra Zero with only 29 calories, making it the perfect zero alcohol beer for any time of the day. Head over to Cal Brew or the Michelob Ultra websites and social media pages for more info on this great family of beers. Enjoy the Michelob Ultra lifestyle with beers and cheers responsibly.
Kuklakis Law. Are you facing legal challenges and don't know where to turn? Look no further than Kuklakis Law, your trusted source for legal advice in Indiana and Illinois. Do you need representation buying or selling real estate? Call Kuklakis Law. Do you need help forming your business? Call Kuklakis Law. Did you get injured in a car crash or at your job? Call Kuklakis Law. No matter what your legal issue, call 219-671-6347 for a free consultation. Who are you going to call? Kuklakis Law. Hablamos Español.
MCR Partners is your one-stop destination for top-notch expertise in economic development, finance, and planning. With a dedicated team geared up to tackle your projects head-on, they're your go-to comprehensive solution providers. Dive into the world of economic development with MCR Partners and let them guide you through a maze of opportunities. Stay in the loop and connected by hitting up their website at mcrpartnersllc.com. And for tailored assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to Matt Reardon personally at 219-741-9511. That's 219-741-9511.
Tortillas Nuevo Leon is the gold standard Mexican cuisine across the Midwest. Look for Tortillas Nuevo Leon's popular red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise.
Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia, de todo corazón.
Misprint Printing. Elevate your brand with Misprint, the premier printing and sign solution in Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. With a 30-year legacy of excellence, their experienced team, led by Rick Baltensberger, combines innovation and technology to deliver top-quality signs and printing and metal business cards, always on time and within budget. Conveniently located in Munster and Hammond, Misprint is your partner for creating impactful visual solutions that leave a lasting impression. Visit them at misprintusa.com to bring your vision to life today. Thanks to our sponsors, including our studio sponsor, Power in Indiana, Lake County.
All right. U.S. Steel to be bought by Nippon Steel? ? No, not bought. But President Donald Trump posted on social media Friday that U.S. Steel will remain in the United States after it forms a planned partnership with Nippon Steel, an announcement that has sent U.S. Steel stock soaring higher on Friday trading and was met positively by Northwest Indiana elected leaders. I am proud to announce that after much consideration and negotiation, U.S. Steel will remain in America and keep its headquarters in the great city of Pittsburgh, Trump posted on Truth Social on Friday. For many years, the name United States Steel was synonymous with greatness, and now it will be again. Post continued, this will be a planned partnership between the United States Steel and Nippon Steel, which will create at least 70,000 jobs and add $14 billion to the U.S. economy. It's the largest investment in the history of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The president continued, from Pennsylvania to Arkansas and from Minnesota to Indiana, American made is back. And he said
Indiana's mentioned.
He was going to be in Pittsburgh on May 30th
yeah.
for a big rally.
Yeah, this is interesting to me, and I'm happy about it because I think to save U.S. Steel,
they need
it for an investment. Now, I would just note, like, Biden blocked it and Trump was against it, and I think during the campaign, there's no way you can kind of like wind through this road clearly about like why you think Nippon Steel in the U.S. is a good idea. I think both of them did what they had to do on the campaign trail. Was like, no, we got to keep U.S. Steel.
I believe Biden was against it though. He would have never come back around.
Well, probably
because of the steelworkers.
Yeah,
right.
Agree. And
because the steelworkers were still are. Steelworkers are pissed about this.
Oh, per our last conversation, he probably didn't even know what he was against or for.
True, but the one thing about Biden, he had certain rules. Like one of them is he was 100% pro-union.
Mm-hmm.
Like he prided himself on it. So I don't think he would have ever approved this.
I'm not surprised that Trump got the deal done. I think it's because I think at the end of the day, it does what needs to be accomplished for U.S. Steel, which is it keeps it here. And it allows the foreign investment to come in through Nippon Steel. We always said, like, if people are saying, like, what if there's a war? What if Japan goes against us? Nationalize the steel industry. It's easy, right? So I wasn't ever afraid of that.
Like if we went to war with Japan, or if they refused to make steel for battleships, we could just be like, nationalize it, like we've done. We did it during World War II.
Without a doubt.
I'm sure we've done it many other times. But in Hammond, factories that now churn out, products that we use, steel, whatever. The factories back then were turning out tanks in Hammond. Hammond was a big tank manufacturer back in the day.
And other places.
Right there on 165th, believe it or not, Lindsay, across the street.
Hutamaki.
Pullman.
No, over on where Jupiter Steel is, over in that area. They literally cranked out tanks over
Pullman
there.
Standard.
Yeah.
Company,
Right.
Right. Yeah, really cool. So interesting. I think that one of the things is that Nippon Steel has pledged $1 billion in investment in Gary Works, including by relining the blast furnace. And otherwise, it would have been idled because of the steep $300 million expense of doing the required maintenance. I know that Mayor Tom wrote a letter when Mayor Eddie Melton from Gary requested Mayor Tom to hop on board, and I know you wrote a letter.
I wrote a
in support
letter
of
to President Trump.
Yep.
And a number of mayors did. I don't know if a number of mayors did. I did. I know Mayor Melton did. And the reason I did it was because this is a great deal for Gary. It's a great deal for Gary. The fact that they're spending $15 billion to acquire U.S. Steel, and Gary's is probably the second most important part of U.S. Steel's portfolio. You have Pittsburgh, which is where the corporate headquarters is and where the main. But I believe the largest steel, blast furnace is in Gary. And if they reline that blast furnace in Gary, like they're talking about, that could be jobs for the next 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
So
it saves the
for the region.
mill.
I think. By the way, this is great for Gary. I'm happy for Mayor Melton. I'm happy for the city of Gary. I think this is 100 times more important than the convention center.
Yeah.
100 times more important. This investment in U.S. Steel is going to be with Gary for years and years. Okay.
Decades.
And good paying jobs.
Yeah.
Jobs that pay $60, $70,000, $80,000 a year.
Life-changing jobs.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is great
More
for the
than
city
that,
of Gary.
$100,000 a year. More
This
than
is great for
$100,000.
the region because there's a lot of people in Hammond that work at U.S. Steel. This is great for them. This is great for all of us. Now, there's people that aren't happy about this, like the steelworkers. They're pissed. Mike Millsap is quoted in here. Not happy at all. And quite frankly, he's the leader of the steelworkers locally. He wasn't happy with me when I wrote that letter. And I wasn't anticipating that, being honest with you. I didn't do it to spite the steelworkers. I did it because it's such an amazing opportunity for Gary. That's why I wrote that letter.
I mean, Northwest Indiana's identity is wrapped around steel, whether you like it or not. And just remember, it's not just about U.S. Steel. There are so many subsidiary businesses that exist
In my city
because of
especially.
U.S. Steel.
Yeah.
And because of Cleveland Cliffs and the mills that are around here, right? And so making sure that U.S. Steel is vibrant and viable for the next 3, 4, 5 decades, I think, is a huge thing for the region.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
is this a different deal than what Trump was
Yes.
against? Or-
Yes.
It's a partnership.
Okay,
Yes.
What does that mean? Because I'm reading
So
it, looks like
basically,
the same
it was
thing.
a clean purchase before. Now they're coming in, and I don't know what the split is. I don't know if it's 2/3, 1/3. I don't know if 51-49, but it's a partnership between U.S. Steel and Nippon. And Nippon is still coming in with billions of dollars, so they probably have the bigger end of the deal.
Right.
Yeah, I
know?
mean, it says that U.S. Steel will remain American, will grow bigger and stronger through a partnership with Nippon Steel that brings massive investment, new technologies, and thousands of jobs over the next 4 years. So,
Wow.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's probably paperwork, John, right? But
Yeah.
Well,
they're
before
getting
it was a
everything
clean
done.
purchase. It
Agreed.
would've been Nippon 100%,
Yep.
right?
It probably has
So
something to do with the board of directors, right, and things like that. So
Sure.
I'm sure, but I think it's good.
So let's get some reactions to this. Nippon Steel applauds President Trump for his bold action to approve our partnership with U.S. Steel. We share the Trump administration's commitment to protecting American workers, the American steel industry, and America's national security. The partnership between Nippon Steel and U.S. Steel is a game changer for U.S. Steel and all of its stakeholders, including the American steel industry and the broader American manufacturing base. So Nippon Steel, very happy with President Trump.
Yeah.
And then I thought the U.S. Steelworkers International president, Dave McCall, said the union was trying on Friday to determine exactly what the president meant with his latest post. We cannot speculate about the impact of today's announcement without more information. Our concern remains that Nippon, a foreign corporation with a long and proven track record of violating our trade laws, will further erode domestic steel-making capacity and jeopardize thousands of good union jobs.
Right.
Hopefully that doesn't come true, but that's the union's concern.
United Steelworkers District 7 Director Mike Millsap said he would not be surprised if the president backtracked from his earlier promises and that Nippon Steel had always planned from the start to keep U.S. Steel's headquarters in Pittsburgh. The union has vehemently opposed the deal, fearing over the long term it would lead to a decline in domestic steelmaking. If he's allowing the deal, it's very disappointing to us. We think jobs will be lost down the road, Millsap said. He, as in President Trump, campaigned that he wouldn't let this happen. He said he would kill this deal if he was president. So Director Millsap is not a happy camper, obviously.
U.S. Senator Todd Young, of course, Republican from Indiana, described the deal as historic. This is a huge win for Hoosier workers and the American economy. I commend the President, Treasury Secretary, and administration officials for carefully considering all aspects of the situation, conducting an impartial review as I previously called for, he said in a statement. This is a big day for American manufacturing.
And Frank Mervan, for those that aren't aware, Representative Mervan was opposed to this deal. He represented Mervan as a close ally of the United Steelworkers, especially Mike Millsap. So if you see the steelworkers going one direction, you're going to find our congressman heading in that same direction 99 times out of 100. Is that fair, Kevin?
Yeah, they're very close. Obviously,
I know
endorsed
personally.
by them. And
I know it personally. So Frank Mervan, from the very this is his comments. From the very beginning of this proposed acquisition, I was steadfast in voicing serious concerns about the implications of foreign ownership, particularly Nippon Steel's record on trade practices, and the critical importance of preserving American control over our steel production, which is vital to our national security, he said. In the months since, and as the vice chairman, dude, this is a lot of like titles and stuff. In the months since, as the vice chairman of the Congressional Steel Caucus, I've listened closely to the many voices raised across the political spectrum, including from the prior administration and the Trump administration. It is clear that this united front of concern and advocacy played a crucial role in shaping the terms, incentives, and safeguards now in place. That is,
it sounds like it tempered. It's
no,
kind of
he's not happy, and it's just like word salad.
But
honestly, Frank, I don't know who wrote that quote, man. You need a better person.
I think that second
That
paragraph
is
though kind of
bullshit
basically makes it saying that he isn't necessarily against it. It sounds like he's
Right.
turned a corner a little bit on
Yeah,
it. And
he's a
and
flip flopping.
the-
Let's
the-
be honest.
the
Like he
thing-
was against it, Kevin, big time.
Yeah.
So now he's trying to be like, I'm with you, Eddie, too.
well, hopefully
Eddie, don't be mad at me, Eddie.
hopefully through more information it changes mind. I think the thing I would be concerned about from one of the comments he made, which is like, oh, I want to make sure that American steel is important. Well, if you don't allow the deal to go through and U.S. Steel gets closed, we got a bigger problem. And that's why I think anything that can save the mill and save U.S. Steel is important to the U.S.
Right. And then Gary Mayor Eddie Melton lobbied for Nippon Steel's acquisition of U.S. Steel because it promised investment in Gary Works. He said Nippon Steel would maintain steelworker jobs and had addressed national security concerns. I am extremely pleased to hear President Trump's announcement confirming that U.S. Steel and Nippon Steel will have a partnership in the United States, Mayor Eddie said. This transformational transaction ensures steel jobs will remain in America and directly impacts thousands of families in our region.
Agree.
Wow.
Yep.
I think it's a great deal overall.
Yep.
I think it's good for everybody, including Lindsay, including Vez, including both of us. This is a positive for
great
our
for the region.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
I think we'll look back on it.
Steel mill.
I know, Lindsay, but like you go to places where you may go to a restaurant that you don't even realize that the husband, funds it from his pension from U.S. Steel. You know what I'm saying? There's just things that like
Trickles down
ripple
through the
through our
economy.
economy
Yeah.
that you don't even realize.
Well, and then no one had a big problem when, inland became.
Right.
Oh man,
Bethlehem?
No,
No,
when it was
Bethlehem.
the guy from India owned
Oh,
it, and
Mittal.
I forget that. Yeah, middle state,
Middle
right?
State,
Exactly.
right.
So that was foreign owned for a while. So and we didn't have.
But
a
it
problem
was
with that.
because it was called U.S. Steel.
Yeah,
That was
oh, I'm
that
sure,
was so-
without a doubt.
That was why it was
Without
so
a doubt.
sensitive.
Without a
And
doubt.
I'll be honest with you. When I first heard about it, I was like, man, that's not a good idea because of that issue. And then when Mayor Eddie called me up, I was like, because I know if I was Mayor Gary, there's no way I would be pushing hard for that, just like Mayor Eddie was. So when he called me up, I was like, you know what? I get it, man. If you're the Mayor Gary, you want to see massive investment so that you could like leverage that and help develop your city. So I was in board.
Yep.
Even though allegedly I hate Gary so much, I was willing to write a letter in support of the largest investment in Gary probably in years. So I hope it helped, Eddie.
And I hope we
Congratulations.
look back.
By the way, Gary's kicking ass right now. They
Yeah.
got the convention center. They got the U.S. Steel investment. Mayor Eddie's doing a good job over
hopefully 20 years from now, when we look back on the U.S. Steel investment by Nippon Steel, everyone will be like, "What were we all worried about?"
20 years from now, when we look up at that Nippon Steel U.S. investment, we're going to weigh which was more important, the U.S. Steel investment or the stupid convention center vote that we just took. And I guarantee you, we're all going to be like so much more happy that U.S. Steel is, being invested in than, us
Saving a
spending
bunch
money.
of jobs.
Right.
So, all right, wrap it up, Mayor.
Let's wrap it up. Thanks for coming in, Linz. Good to see you. Even though you stayed up all night, you still came in and brought
Going
it.
to bed.
You
Gold
came
star,
in,
Linz.
You came in and brought it. That's what I'll. That's all.
Thank
I
you
care
for
about.
the
Gee,
UAP
IPA.
information. IPA.
Jay Vaz, thank you very much.
Yep.
Thanks for putting up with our
Yep.
book report.
Yeah. No, it was
It's
good.
interesting.
I felt
gonna
good
read it.
hearing you guys
I'm pissed.
be a little critical.
I've been a critical dude.
No, you have.
I know.
Kevin was the softie.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
He was always like,
Thank
"Well,
you.
Tom, I think you're going."
Well,
a little too-"
I gave Tom credit today. I did.
Thank you.
did.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I was.
I taped the show after. I have it available if you guys want to hear it.
Nice.
That was the show after Aaron and I were sitting in here, and I was letting him have it. And part of the reason was because Kevin wasn't here, and I was able to let him have it. So.
No, it's a very frustrating story as a Democrat, and I would encourage anybody, Republican or Democrat, to read it because you do get some inside info on how these things work, and it's a study of power and how power really impacts the human mind.
There it is.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kev. Good to see you. Thanks to our audience. We love you. We couldn't do it without you and the sponsors. So if you're a lock potter, take care of the sponsors. And all I have to say to you lock potters as we close out is nanu nanu. Take care, everybody. Season 15,
All right.
episode 9's in the books. Take care, everybody. Lock pods out.